have lent me their mic for the next little bit. So what we're going to do this morning is we're going to do some demonstrations revolving around how groundwork can relate to ridden work. So, you know, people, especially in a year like this when it's wet and things are not going to plan, you know, lots of people have been saying to me, I don't have time to work my horse, you know, the ground's too wet, I can't get done what I want to get done. And you know what? Yes, it is one of those years where everything's going wrong, but there's still so much you can do with your horse, even when the ground is too wet to ride. You know, not all of us have a beautiful arena like this, and sometimes, you know, it can be a bit tough. So, you know, we can do stuff on the ground that will make sure that when we do get back in the saddle, we have a better relationship with our horse, and we can make sure that, you know, we can get a lot more done under saddle. So this young mare, she's never been to the field days, you know, she hasn't been around a big heap. And as you guys can see, she's kind of like, oh my Lord, you know, there's a tractor pull going over there, there's sideshows over there. If you can't guess the yards that she came out of are back over there. And you can see, there's nothing about this mare that has her focused on that. Now, I bred this mare, okay, she's been in, you know, with us her whole life. Right now, you could not pay me to get on this mare's back, okay, because she is not at all focused on me, okay? She is completely focused on everything else that's going on around here, and the fact that it's a big scary field days, and you know, she's not used to all this sound and all this noise. So, and you can see, look at her facial expressions, like watch her chewing, okay? That's not a positive chew, that's a stressful chew. That's a horse that's under stress, okay? Right now, that mare, and that is literally how she expresses it. She will chew like that, and she'll do it with a bit on when you ride. So what do we do? How do we build this mare's confidence? How do we get her to come back to us? How do I get her focused on me? So if I do go to get on her, I don't feel like I'm going to die. Well, it's pretty simple, okay? Now, you could have all seen, while I've been talking, I've been constantly backing her up. Now, this mare would weigh 600 kilos. Can you imagine what if she gets in my space, and let's say, and this does happen here, let's say one of those tractors at the tractor pull backfires, and if this mare doesn't have enough respect for me, or if she doesn't know to stay out of my space, if she takes fright, it's quite easy for her to come straight over me, because like I said, her buddies are behind me. So the first thing I have been working on with her is establishing personal space. You can see she keeps wanting to creep forward, and I keep backing her up. Now, even if I'm turned off and facing all of you, and I'm not focused on her, I expect her to respect my space. I do not want her creeping over the top of me. Like I said, she weighs 600 kilos. You know, she's already snapped my ACL in another accident. We don't need that happening again. Not her fault, my fault. So, if I walk off and then I ask her to back up, I expect her to respect my space. Now, backing up, okay? Backing up's one of those key skills that every horse must know. Let's be honest, they can back up the day they're born. It's us that makes it more complicated. So, you can use different techniques to back up. You can see I've been marching and getting her to stay out of my space. Some people will put a stick over the rope, okay? Some people will wave the stick at their feet. Some people will just wiggle the rope, okay? I don't care what way works best for you and your horse, because every horse and every person is different. But as long as you have that skill established in some form, as long as if you ask your horse to step back, they do. Now, you might all notice this mare's starting to establish more of a space between us. All I had to do was back her up a couple of times and get a focus, and she kind of went, oh, yeah, okay, I'm starting to get the deal here. And have you noticed? She's not trying to run straight back over there to where her buddies are, okay? That's her safe place. And it's important you're aware of things like that in your training. That's her draw back over there. So now she's less focused on her draw, and you guys can see she's actually starting to look around a little bit, and she's coming back and being focused on me. So this is already a horse that I would be happier to get on. Like I said to you guys, when I first came in here and we're having a bit of trouble with the sound system and things like that, and she was full on stress, chewing. No, she's not chewing now. And there's no way. You could not pay me to get on her, okay? And like I said, I've owned her a whole life and I know her inside out. So now, look, we're starting to see some body language that tells us that this horse is more relaxed. Yes, she's looking around. So, next step, okay? Remembering that what we're working on here is preparing this mare to ride, okay? So, there's lots of exercises that I use in my groundwork program. The one that I probably use the most is asking them to move their hips and their shoulders on a circle. Now, this mare is super responsive, okay? I've only got to think about changing direction and she'll probably go there. But you can see when I lunge around, you can see how she stops starty, and there's nothing smooth and fluid about what this mare's doing. And you guys think about it, when you ride a circle, or when you go for a ride up the bush, or whatever you do with your horses, you want it to be smooth and fluid. Horse riding shouldn't be hard work, it should be easy. So what we want to do is the same level of smoothness and fluidness that we would expect under saddle, we should get that on the ground. So if I lunge this mare off on the circle again, now I'm not going through how you do this step by step, okay? I'm just showing you some of the exercises that I use. But some key things to note when you do this, the horse should be flexed around you. Now you can see I'm actually bumping on the lead rope a little bit. Like this mare's a little strong, she's pulling on the rope a bit, and that's not what I want. When I change my focus and ask her to disengage her hip, that's what I want. So when she lunges, if I point and head her off, okay, now that departure then for me as a trainer was completely unacceptable. Okay, if they depart like that, I'm not happy with that. Because remember, we're trying to make our ridden experience a positive one. We're trying to make sure that what we put into this mare now is going to make, when I get on her back, much easier. I want her to get a little softer and a little calmer. So the next thing that I would do with this mare is I'd move her shoulders around for a little while. Now, any of you who have come through, come through, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying it, but, come through the showing system and stuff, we all know the stories about people getting out and lunging horses all night, okay? Well, you know what? You can do that, or you can do something like this, where you're moving their body parts around, and you will get a much better response, because not only am I exercising this mare, but I'm actually getting her to listen to me. Now, you guys can see she's not listening very well. In a minute, she will settle down. Now, by the way, if you've never done these exercises with your horse, don't think you'll go out on day one and get a horse to turn like this, even though I'm not happy with it. Like this mare has been doing these exercises since she was weaned. Okay, so you can see I only have to stop my feet and she changes direction. Now, why am I keeping on going? Because the mare hasn't improved. That was a little better. Okay, so what I'm looking for, when they change direction and move their shoulders, what I'm looking for is I am looking for her to get over her hocks and her front end to travel through. I don't want her popping up in the air. I don't want her jumping around. I want a smooth and fluid motion. A little bit like you would expect a cutting horse to go. So you guys can see this mare is showing lots of facial and physical expressions of a horse that's massively overreactive. Again, if I wanted to ride her, I would get her listening to me better and get her travelling softer and kinder before I even thought about putting a saddle on her back. Now I'm just going to keep moving her feet. Okay, that again was a little better. So every time she gives me a slight improvement, I let her stop. There we go. I don't know if anyone's been noticing, but we've been out here for however long, and that is the first time that mare has shown a sign of release. It's the first time, and there she goes again, you've got 5 signs of release that you're looking for. And that is the first time that mare has shown any sign of release. Now, that's not a sign of release. If you have a look at it, you can see she's a pretty good doer. So now if I move her again, see, this is not good enough, okay? Now I would like, there, good girl, that was better. I would like to keep her going until we got something positive, because remember, I'm talking about improving your written experience. I want you to be able to do these groundwork exercises so that when you ride, you have a better ride and it's more enjoyable. Now, I keep letting her stop every time she tries, every time she improves, every time she shows me that she's listening. Because what I want to do is I want to build on her trust. Okay, at the moment, she's scared by everything here. So every time I let her stop, I'm rewarding whatever behaviour she has just exhibited. So if she was walking across this arena on her 2 hind legs, rearing and striking, and I took the pressure away and I went, oh, good girl, I would have rewarded that behaviour, okay? But if I reward the positive behaviour, I'm more likely to get it again. The more times I tell her she did the right thing by letting her have a spell, okay, the more likely I am to get it again. Now this is not good. There, that was, okay, in my program that was not good, but it was better than what she's given me before. Okay, so we could keep working on that. We could move her shoulders a bit more, just to go to hindquarters, get her listening to me, okay, get her tuned into me more. But, you know, I want to show you what I'm saying. So, another exercise that I personally am a huge fan of for getting their focus and getting their attention is what we call the focus exercise. So, as I said, you guys can see, you know, she's looking around and all that, and focus on everything else. So how do I get her attention back on me? Well, by moving her body parts. So what I'm going to do, and this next bit's really important for you when you're working with your horses. You see how she's looking straight out over my head now? Okay, so I'm going to move her feet. I'm guessing there's something behind me. Now, I want her ears focused on me, not on all of you, not on what's going on, so I'm going to just keep asking her to step her feet. There. Okay, she then flicked her 2 ears towards me. So do you notice I turned away? Notice I broke the connection with her? Because this is her reward. When I break the connection, I'm not asking her to do anything, okay? When I break the connection, she can relax and she can look around and do whatever. I don't care if she looks at the fireys coming down there or the tractors or whatever. But when I turn and face her again, I want her ears on me. Now, nothing's happened. It's not, like it's sort of there, but it's sort of not. There, okay? Did you guys see she gave me 2 ears then? So I turned off. No, I've turned off another direction, okay? So now if I turn and face her, much better. So if I was going to ride her and I wanted her to be tuned into me, okay, here's my first thing. When I turn, she should pay attention. If she doesn't pay attention to me, I will move her. If she's not paying attention, I will move her. I will move her. I might go forwards or backwards until I get that. Okay, she flicked her ears to me and she licked and chewed. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now she can look at all of you. But when I turn and face her, can you guys see how she's giving me half her attention? It's not complete. So I'm going to move her feet. Licking and chewing and looking away is not on. Okay, better. So now I'll turn away. Now, you guys remember how at the start this mare was wanting to walk on top of me and creep up? Do you notice when I start turning away, she goes back to her creepy thing? So you have to use your ears and your peripheral vision to be a little aware of when the horse is creeping forward, because then you need to do something about it, okay? Now I turn and face her. That's good. Okay. Right, I'll turn and face her again. No, not good enough. And you guys can see, now the wind's picked up a bit, like the flags are flapping behind her and stuff. She started to pay attention to that instead of to me. Awesome. Okay, so if you're in a situation like this where your horse is a little rattled and stuff, you know, that's a really good exercise that you can use to kind of get that happening. Now, the big thing to remember is you should practice all of this stuff at home when everything is wonderful and quiet and the horse can focus on you. You know, there's no point coming to somewhere like this where there's sideshows and tractor pulls and peoples and flags and noise and blah, 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 and then wondering why your horse won't do it. Practice all of this stuff in a controlled environment at home where you and your horse are more comfortable. Because what happens is, and any of you who were here when we were having trouble with the mic before I started, this mare was really heightened. She was looking at everything, she was scared of everything. If I hadn't have done all of this stuff at home, there's no way I could have brought her back to me at that point. Okay, so it's really important that you lay your foundation at home. Now, something that's really important with horses is being able to flex them. And I see a lot of people at clinics who are unable to flex their horses, okay, and who have trouble with flexing their horses under saddle. And, you know, this is one of the first things we teach our horses when we, wean them. So we get them and we teach them to give to pressure. Now, it's really simple, okay? All I'm going to do is I'm going to stand back here. Now, you guys can all see. Yes, I know you know. You guys can all see I'm standing back, okay? I'm not in her way. One of the really common mistakes I see people make when they do this is they stand up here and they try and drag the horse's head in. You can see when I stand here, this mare doesn't flex to me at all. But when I stand back here, okay, and I ask her to flex, now, here's the thing, she's distracted. I run my hand down and I ask her to flex. What's the reward? The release of pressure. As soon as she flexes, I release the pressure. Now, if she goes to go away, I want her head at 10 o'clock. Okay, now here comes the stress again. You guys can see she's starting to do the mouth thing. She's getting a bit wound up about it. So she's not here because she's comfortable being here. She's here because I've asked her to be here and she's finding it all a little bit stressful. There. Now, why am I going to walk forward now? I walked forward right then because I wanted to break the process. I wanted to stop what I was doing. And she licked and chewed at that moment. She softened and she licked and chewed. That's all I can ask for, okay? She's finding it all different today and she's like, what's going on? She was better than what she was. A minute ago, she was doing the nervous jaw-pulling thing, and then just for the briefest moment, she relaxed, she stood where I wanted her to, and she licked and chewed. So I walked forward to end the session. So if I run my hand down again, ask her to give. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm not meant to sniff my hand. That's pretty good. That's where I want her head there. Okay, a lot of people get wound up about they need to have their horse's head all the way around here. Okay, now, there is hardly an event in the world. The only time you're going to need to pull your horse's head that far is when you're trying to desperately stop one with one rein because they're leaving town, and even that on its own will not help you. Okay, so if she comes to here, that's all I need. That's it. So I can walk forward. Session over. Okay, that's perfect. Couldn't ask for better. Now, something that people need to always focus on is your horse has two sides. Okay? Your horse has two sides, so make sure you work on both sides. Now, this mare, who, as I said, she should know this stuff inside out. You guys can see I'm not even pulling on her face. I just run my hand down the rope and she gives. Now, you can imagine how light this mare is to ride. Okay? So there. Now, ready? There. Now, I want her to stay there a little bit longer because, like I said, this is not this mare's first rodeo. She's done this a heap of times. She should be able to stay there for a little longer. And ask her again, stay there. No. So you can see every time she moves away from where I want, I run my hand back down the rope and I put her back where I want it to be. It's just repeat, repeat, repeat. And you guys can see how distracted she is. She is just wanting out. So repeat again, run my hand down. There. Why do I release there? Because she held that for 2 seconds longer than she did every other time. So you know what? We will take that. We will go, thank you very much. So, you know, that's your basic, get your horse to flex, get your horse to turn, get your horse to follow pressure. Okay, that is, you know, being able to guide your horse's nose. Okay, getting them to listen to what you're asking them to do. But of course, that exercise is the first step in being able to bend your horse to a stop and then ultimately being able to disengage your horse when you ask it to stop. So the disengaging is important if you are in trouble with a horse, okay? Important if you have a horse that, you know, is trying to do something that you don't particularly want it to do. So how we teach that is we start on the ground. Now we start with the flexion that we've already taught, and then we teach them to move their hip. Now you guys can see my body language is calm, relaxed, there's no pressure. I'm standing here calmly. Now what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to focus all my energy on her hip, and I'm going to ask her to step that leg that is resting up in underneath her body. Okay, so told you she could read my mind. Now, no, nothing about my body language has changed. She's anticipating this exercise. Okay, she knows what's coming. So, I'm not going to ask her, okay? I'm not asking, can you note how soft my shoulders are and how I'm a bit stooped in my body, and nothing about me is asking her to move. Okay, she just knows what I'm going to ask her to do. And you know, today she's a little heightened. Today, like I said, there's a lot going on and she's like, holy dooly. This is all too exciting. So remember before when I was saying about, you know, the release of pressure is what you reward? While that mare was moving, if I had taken that stick away, guess what I would have rewarded? Moving when she wasn't asked to. So I have to keep rubbing her until such time as she is comfortable with me being here. Now, that's much better. So what I'll do is I'll step away. Because she's overreacting a bit, I need to get this going a bit better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask her this time to step. And straight away, I go back to being relaxed. Okay, straight away I just go to rubbing the stick on her. Now, we'll spend a little time, take the stick away while she's standing still. You know, always be aware of what you're rewarding. Always think about what you're actually asking your horse to do. Now, I know she's standing on the wrong side, so I'll just turn her around so you guys can see. Now, if I go here, all I have to do is look at this mare's hip. Now, that wasn't good enough for her. There. Okay, you guys can see all I have to do with this mare is look at her hip. Like I said, this mare has been doing this since she was weaned. Not a lot, not often, just occasionally. So look at her hip, ask her to step, and then I stand up and relax. Okay, rub on her, focus on her hip, there. Now here's the thing, if you are then looking toward, you know, say you're going to ride this mare and say something goes wrong, say she takes fright of the whirly gig down the bottom, and you need to disengage her hip, you think about it. We've already got her soft in the face, she's flexing and giving, and now we've got her moving her hip. Now a horse cannot rear, buck, shy while its legs are disengaged like that. So this is when you have the ultimate control. So what you do is, when you're on the saddle, you ask them to give their face, you put your inside leg back and push their hip across. But you've already taught them it on the ground and it makes it so much easier. But look, that is just a few really simple little exercises that that will help you with your, you know, when you're doing your groundwork, that are going to help you with your ridden work. You don't need a lot of gear, you know, a stick and a halter is all you need. But, you know, thanks so much for coming, guys. And please, we have a newsletter where you can sign up. We don't hassle you. We just send you out with what's going on, what we're doing. We're doing some online training now. So feel free to come over and sign up for the newsletter. We have a competition going where you can win a free 12-month subscription to our training channel, which is worth $250. So come and catch up with us and we'll answer any questions. You'll see these horses. Ronnie from Equisage is going to do a demo next and she will use this mare. If you're around and you watch the demo, you'll watch how much more this mare starts to relax now that I've done that little bit of groundwork with her and she's been out here for a while. But please come and see us and enjoy the rest of the field days.